president not answering any of those questions shouted at him, but with an update at the very top of his address, a new death toll for Americans killed, 14. As he addressed the more than 1,000 civilians slaughtered, also confirming American citizens are being held by Hamas. He said he has no higher priority than that. We are in constant communication with Israel, calling this an act of sheer evil that has been unleashed on the world, pure, unadulterated evil. He said, ultimately, we must be crystal clear. We stand with Israel. John.
He also said it brings to mind the worst rampages of ISIS, but glaringly missing from that speech was any mention of Hamas's benefactor, Iran, and any potential involvement that they might have had in this. So to kick that around, let's bring back in Jason Chaffetz and Marie Harf. Jason, are you surprised that the president didn't even mention Iran?
Disappointed. The president, I thought, gave a heartfelt support of Israel. I saw no new news there. It was irresponsible, I think, for the president to not mention Iran. No word to Iran. Nothing about weapons coming out of Afghanistan that were Americans. Nothing about the intelligence failures. He's got to show some strength. I appreciate the bipartisan, heartfelt support of Israel. But you better put the world on notice that the United States of America is not going to stand for anybody else to participate. And to not mention Iran is just total malpractice by the President of the United States.
Marie Harf is also with us. Thank you, Jason. Marie, did you hear a clear strategy as to how we are going to address these Americans who are being held hostage by Hamas?
Well, Sandra, it was an unequivocal statement of support. There was no both sides in here from Joe Biden. He unequivocally said that we stand with Israel, period, and that they have a duty to defend themselves and indeed to punish those responsible. He did talk about support for the hostage rescue operations that are going out. He spoke about that a little bit. Obviously, the United States and Israel will work together to get those hostages freed. He also talked about surging American military assets to the region, in part as a warning. He didn't say Iran by name, but I do think he put on notice Iran, Hezbollah, others in the region who might take advantage of the situation by saying simply, don't do it. They're moving American assets to the region. We will continue, of course, to help the Israelis defend themselves. He was very strong on that. And this was a very personal speech. I mean, so moving when he quoted what Golda Meir said to him when he was in Israel for the first time. We have nowhere else to go. Those words were so powerful and moving, and I think this was an unequivocal statement of support, and I'm glad that he was so strong today, Sandra.
Marie, let me just ask you about what you just said there. When the president said, to any country thinking of taking advantage, I have one word, don't. From all reports that we've had, Iran's already done that, and yet he didn't mention anything about them.
Well, make no mistake, the situation could get much worse, particularly if Hezbollah decides to open a two-front war for Israel. We've already seen some concerning signs in the north. So I think Joe Biden was putting them on notice. Don't go any further. Don't do anything else. Don't try and take advantage of that situation. There is an interesting conversation in Israel among intelligence officials that I know is happening here as well about the extent of Iran's specific involvement in planning of this attack. There's no question about Iran's support for Hamas writ large, but there are intelligence officials right now, many of whom are in Israel, who are looking at exactly what Iran did in this case. And this is an intelligence failure, I would say, most importantly on the Israeli side. Now, Israel has incredible intelligence assets. I know they are looking very hard right now about what they missed and don't want to miss anything else. So President Biden, again, putting on notice others in the region.
Jason, I just want to finish up with you on that. I mean, did you get the sense that there are concrete steps that we are now taking? I mean, he just confirmed 14 Americans dead. Americans are being held hostage right now. Do you believe that there was a bigger obligation on the part of the president to lay out exactly how we are going to proceed and send a firmer message that this cannot happen?
I'll give a little latitude to a president who has to get hostages out. You don't telegraph that in advance. But what about the $6 billion in Iran? How can you not mention that? John Kirby just told us, yeah, they could pull that back. Why isn't the president out there saying, okay, you're not getting that money and you're going to, he could have done things like that and he didn't.
All right, Jason Chaffetz, Marie Harf, thanks for following up with us. We appreciate it. We'll be spending more time together, I'm sure. Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.